What is up, Rumpier Sports? It's JSU, it's Titletown. We're bringing you the Hardwood show live today. And first off, hit that thumbs up, hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. It'll notify you whenever we get this free content coming out, which is pretty much every day because we've got live free shows pretty much every day. So make sure you subscribe and hit that thumbs up. But Titletown, we got a nice little 5-game slate to talk about. How you doing, though, first?
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's a nice Sunday in sports. A lot going on right now. Golf is going on. We got NASCAR going on, early MLB going on, early NBA going on. It's a good time to be a sports fan. A lot of action. And we got a pretty nice slate later. So excited to dive in and look at that picture behind you. What a good mojo. Get it started off right. I love it.
Yeah, if you guys weren't here, I think it was Thursday for the live show. Mr. Tony was rounding up the winners, and he decided to, play the part, and he put the hat on, and, he looked pretty good. I love the red face, though, just classic red face. It definitely was maybe a little embarrassed. I was shocked he actually wore it the entire show title. I was very impressed that he did.
Yeah. Me too. I did not expect that, but hey, he was a trooper. He did what he had to do, and I think winners were picked too. So maybe we'll get it I know he's there for 2 weeks. Maybe we'll get one more show with it, but the picture will last forever.
That's right. That's why I took the picture, and that's why I made it my background. It'll last forever, people. So that's it. Yeah, West Coast Gem, I'm working overtime. I had to come on with Title again. We had a nice show last Sunday, so we had to run it back for another one.
You bet.
And hopefully we pick some more winners. I think Title was on that Indiana game stack last time out. Hopefully we can find another game to kind of stack out of all these games, because I see a few really good games. We obviously have a ton of news to break down in each game. So it should be a fun slate. General overview before we break this slate down, Title, because there's a few pretty key spots. What are you planning on just kind of honing in on one game, or are you trying to get pieces of a few of these games?
Well, Toronto stands out right away as the main spot that I'll have a lot of exposure. Kyle Lowry out, Van Vliet out, Siakam out, OG Anunoby out. They just don't have bodies. So I'm going to load up on many Raptors as I can. Boucher, Malachi Flynn. I mean, there's a lot of them we'll talk about. The big news, too, is Kawhi Leonard. He is questionable. But looking at the slate, that game locks at 10 Eastern, and the second to last game that locks is 7:30 Eastern. So I'm not expecting to have any Kawhi Leonard news, and I'm pretty much just going to take it from a cash game consideration. I'll let you talk about tournaments, but I'm just not going to mess with that situation at all. If he's out, yes, Paul George would be a great play, but then you're leaving out other plays earlier that will be better. So I'm not going to worry about that Kawhi situation if we don't get the news. Tournaments, you can break it down, but Toronto is a very good spot. And we have a lot of injuries on this slate that we'll go over, but Lillard's out. We have there's a couple. Michael Carter.
Yeah, don't even get into it, because we'll go game by game and we'll break each injury situation down. We just got a little bit of news drop down. Mo Bamba is on track to play, so he's not officially in, but I think they think he's gonna play. So that's probably good news for him. Bad news for Wendell Carter Jr. maybe a little bit. And then PJ Washington and Devontae Graham, which is the first game we're going to talk about, so we can roll right into it. Those guys are still game time decisions. So pretty much we got to wait until they go through their final warm up to see if they're going to be good to go to play. So we'll probably get it. Maybe we'll get it by the end of the show, Title. If not, we'll be in Discord. We'll kind of break it down from both angles. But let's start there. Portland Trailblazers, Charlotte Hornets. This game, a game where, I just read two of the bigger injuries for the Charlotte side. From the Portland side, I mean, Damian Lillard's out again. So that is one of the bigger injury, on the slate, I would say anyways. So we all know it's an obvious bump to CJ, but the price has bumped up. After last game, 8.7K now. Let's start there. Is CJ McCollum just a lock in cash games?
Yeah, I really like CJ. He has a better price on FanDuel at 7.9, but it's hard not. I mean, he's one of the best plays on the slate, even at 8-7. So much usage to go along or to go around without Dame. And we know how good CJ McCollum is. He's been so good all year. So give me CJ regardless. I would pay 9.5 probably for him on this slate too. And there's so much value that you need spend up. So CJ McCollum, definitely a very good play. Strong play in cash game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even in tournaments, he still has upside on this slate. Took 26 shots last game with no Dame. I expect him to be right around that 25, maybe even 30 shots. Like that's probably around what he's going to do against the Charlotte Hornets. And I don't see anyone who can really slow him down. The question is the secondary pieces, because they've got a few of them. Last time this injury news popped up, I was kind of on Anthony Simons. He didn't start. They started Derrick Jones Jr. I assume they just start Derrick Jones Jr. again, but Simons was the one who actually saw the minutes bump where he got like around 25 or 30. I can't remember the exact, but it was between 25 and 30. What do you think about the cheaper Trailblazers? And then you can talk about the mid-range.
Yeah, so Anthony Simons will start there. He's a very strong play. He got 30 minutes last game. He's another player that, I mean, he's better on DraftKings because you only can play 2 point guards on FanDuel, and Anthony Simons has dual position eligibility. 3.6K is just way too cheap from him. One of my favorite values. He's a good basketball player when it comes down to it too. You know he's going to shoot the ball, which helps on DraftKings too. I'm just going to play him in this matchup. I like him a lot. And then going to the other Portland guys, I like the Portland. I like Norman Powell and I like Carmelo. Those are my second 2 favorite. 6,300, 4,200 on DraftKings. Melo's only 4,100 on FanDuel, 6,300 for Powell too. These guys just, well, we know what Carmelo does. Anytime he's in the game, he's chucking it, which we love for DFS. His minutes now go up. More usage off the bench as well too. So love Carmelo for the price tag, and Norman Powell too. He's in the mid 6K range, but salary isn't that much of an issue. He played 38 minutes the past 2 games. Not the best of scores, 33 and 34 in a mediocre game. He didn't even shoot the ball extraordinarily well. So tons of upside for Norman Powell. I love these Trailblazers. I love the Raptors later. So back to your early question, are you going to one-off some people? Or are you going to pick mainly teams? Portland and Toronto are my 2 favorite teams to target. CJ McCollum, Anthony Simons, Norman Powell, Carmelo. I'm going to rank them that way too.
Okay, so here's my thing with the first CJ, Norman Powell, Anthony Simons, Carmelo, kind of the first 4 guys you brought up and we talked about for Portland. Here's my one issue with them is almost every single one of them is extremely scoring dependent. You know what I mean? I mean, CJ, yes, could he have, a decent assist game? Yeah. Could he get it done in other areas? Yeah, for sure. But he's a scorer, right? Norman Powell, shooter, especially 3-point shooter this year. He's been really good this year shooting the 3 ball. Anthony Simons, you can make a case, and he's really cheap. But Carmelo, we know, is a scorer. I feel like if you're going to play 3 or 4 Blazers, you probably only want 2 or 3 of them. You probably don't want to go crazy and have all 4 of those specific guys in your lineup, because I feel like they take away from each other. Like if we get a monster Carmelo game, it may hurt Norman Powell maybe a little bit. I don't know. What do you think of that? Because to me, it's like if I'm going to add someone, I want like 2, maybe 3 of those 4 scorers, but then maybe I throw in a Covington, a Nurkic, a guy to kind of differentiate my stack. And also, Nurkic, he can get it done. We saw 2 games ago, he almost had a triple-double, and he only had 7 or 8 points. So he could get it done in all different facets of the game. Robert Covington, we know he can shoot 3s, but he can get steals and blocks, and he can rebound a decent amount as well. What do you think about that?
I think that makes a lot of sense in tournaments. It's in cash games. I don't really care about like if they eat away at each other a little bit or stuff like that. I like the prices on all of these guys, but in tournaments, I think it makes a lot of sense because they are going to be popular. They do eat into each other a little bit because only one guy can shoot the ball at a time, but there's also assist opportunities. These guys are going to need a rebound a little more. I know they're not known to be rebounders, assist makers, stuff like that, but I think it's a good point. Tournaments, I probably would max it out at 3. In cash games, I'm fine playing all 4 just because you're mainly playing for the safety, for the floor. constructing what you believe to be the best lineup. And all four of these guys have good prices and good spots. So tournaments, yeah, I think I agree with you. You got to differentiate some way. Nurkic, Covington, they'll be definitely lower owned. Cash games, I don't worry about it.
Yeah, so we just got news and the chat's already on it. RHJ is reportedly starting. So they just signed Rondé Hollis-Jefferson. If you don't know RHJ, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, obviously he played for, most people probably don't, playing for the Brooklyn Nets, right, for a little while. But they just signed him. Has he even played, like, any minutes yet for this team?
No, so he hasn't. He's min price on both sides, too.
Oh, it's showing 5 minutes against Miami, but yeah, they just signed a second 10-day contract. So, okay, so he played 5 minutes in the Miami game. This is his second 10-day contract, but really he hasn't played any meaningful minutes.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. So now he's starting, I'm assuming, for Derrick Jones Jr., who went out last game. He only played 17 minutes. And really, let's be honest, he's on the floor for his defense, and when he's like not doing anything offensively and he's just standing around and they don't have Dame Lillard, it's really tough for that team probably to leave him on the floor, right? When there's no Dame. When there's Dame and CJ, though, Derrick Jones Jr. can play 20 minutes, 25 minutes, right? Like, because they have Dame and CJ to score. I don't understand RHJ, though. He's not a very good offensive player either. I don't know. He's not a shooter. What do you think of this?
This is very interesting. It just came out 3,000. It sounds like a cash game play. I hope we get more news from stats or something. Like we want him to play 25 minutes or like at least have a plan with him, because he could come in for one stint, be awful, just be an exercise guy, which he usually is. And then Carmelo could come in the second unit and just dominate. And then he's going to close the game in the fourth quarter if he's playing well. So in tournaments, I think it's I haven't dug in enough, so I'm not going to say a fade, but I mean, he's going to probably be popular. He's 3,000. He's min price. So he'll get you whatever he's starting. He's not a basketball player I love to target though. So right now my stance is probably in cash games, you're going to want him. In tournaments, I think underweight. And then, or if you play him, then you don't play Carmelo or you don't play Norm or something like that, because then you're hoping RHJ is playing well and then he's going to close the game. And then one of those guys aren't going to. So that's kind of how I'm approaching it. On FanDuel, I don't think you touch it just because you only can play two power forwards. And his minutes are too unsecure. I'd rather go up to like Kent Birch or something where I know what I'm getting for 500 more. So DraftKings cash, I think he's going to be a play. FanDuel, I'm not going to play. Tournaments, you either play him or you play like Melo and Norman Powell, but I wouldn't pair them together.
Yeah, so like maybe this just like bumps down Nasir Little and he doesn't get much run at all. He got 10 or 11 minutes last game. I don't think they're going to give RHJ monster minutes.
Yeah.
Like maybe he gets the 17 that Derrick Jones Jr. got, maybe. But like you said, I think Simons, Carmelo, I think those are the guys who ultimately have a good shot to finish the game. Unless he's just playing out of his mind. But, I mean, we've seen him before. Yeah, does he have talent? Of course, yeah, he definitely has talent. But, I mean, there's a reason why, he's on a second 10-day contract, right? Like, So, I still think the bench two guys are Simons and Melo, and then you just play the obvious guy. You want to play, like, a CJ with one of, like, Covington or Nurkic, I think is the way I'm going to go.
And you're talking about how ball dominant and like how much these guys like to shoot on Portland. Like how many shots do you think RHJ is going to come into the starting lineup and shoot?
No, he's going to. So if he
rebound,
does like
assist,
the way he's going to get there is like steals, blocks, rebounds. Maybe he gets a couple of like that's the way he's getting there though. He's not going to be like shooting a ton of shots. Yeah. Like if he starts doing that, they'll pull his ass out. Like. They don't want him to be shooting a ton of shots. So unless he's become a really good shooter since he's not been playing in the NBA for a little while. So we'll see about that. But the Charlotte side to me is a little more interesting because we've got those two key guys. I would say key guys because they're both starters, right? They both play meaningful minutes and they've been out for a little while. And, now they're possibly back. Their game time decisions. If they're both out, I'll have a ton of interest again in Terry Rozier. But what do you think of them if they play and if they don't play?
If they're in, I'm pretty much just going to fade Charlotte. We love the Portland side with injuries. Love Toronto with all their injuries. There's just no need to play a Charlotte team pretty healthy if they're both in. If they're out, I 100% agree. Terry Rozier becomes a very strong play. He's just been so good without them. When he needs to shoot and be the guy, he knows how to do that. I like his price more on FanDuel at 7,500, but I still like him at 8,300 if they're both out. That's probably where all I'm going to go since we have a lot of other value. Like Jaden McDaniels, if PJ Washington out, he's fine, but he's 5,400. Like, I don't love that price with so much value on this slate. So I think if they're both out, it's Rozier. If they're both in, it's a pretty easy stay away.
Yeah, I mean, look at Terry Rozier, 40 minutes against Brooklyn. Even with Graham against Cleveland, he played 43 minutes. They're not afraid to run this guy out there big minutes. That is the one good thing. So, like, I think if Devontae was in and I, like, wanted to still play someone from Charlotte, I think it would be Rozier because I still think he could play 40 minutes even with those guys in because he is the one guy outside of Gordon Hayward, in my opinion, who's been out, who the coach, for whatever reason, trusts to play 40 minutes. All these other guys, Devontae Graham, yeah, when guys are out, like LaMelo's out, they'll give them 30, 34, but they're not letting them run out 40 minutes. But they are letting Terry. So Terry would be the one guy I'd still have interest in. And then, after that, like, obviously if PJ Washington's in, we assume he starts, but they started Vernon Carey last game, and I was shocked he played 35 minutes. I mean, he shot 9 for 14 from the field. I don't think he's going to go out and shoot 9 for 14 from the field. And he only had 6 rebounds, but he did play better than I thought he would play. And he's 3,700 against Portland.
Yeah, he's also just center eligible. So it takes away some of we like the center position a lot. On this slate, I'm probably not going to do it since there's so many injuries and so much other value. If I knew he was going to get 35 minutes again, yeah, I would be all over him. That doesn't seem like something Charlotte wants to do, run him out 35 minutes. I could be wrong. I'm going to take a chance that that's not what their plan is. But to Rozier, I like that call in tournaments because I think he's going to be low owned if both of these guys are in on DraftKings at his price. And I think that's a really sharp play. I mean, he's been so good. Keep his ownership down. Very good tournament play. So good point on that. Cash games, I'm not going to do it though.
It's like the theory. It's like the thought process though. When you think about these situations, right? Like everyone knows, okay, multiple stars are out. These are this guys starting. This guy's playing big minutes. Okay, he's the play. But when those guys come back in, everyone just projects like they're just going to bump that guy right out. And I think in tournaments, it's okay to take one risk, right? You don't have to take a ton of risk. You just need that one guy, one or two guys that can still give you a monster game, even with the news not going maybe perfect for him technically. So I think this would be my case where I take the shot. But Vernon Carey, if he starts, if PJ Washington's out, 3.7K, I mean, I say he would be in play, but only if PJ Washington is out. If he does not start, whether he's PJ Washington's in or out, then I have no interest in Vernon Carey. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, Miles Bridges at 7.2. I like the matchup for Miles Bridges, but I don't like paying 7.2K for Miles Bridges. So he's an X button for me. Even after the big game, I'm just going to stay away. And I think the Charlotte side, I'm not going to the Martin brothers unless both those guys are out, PJ and Devontae Graham. And even then, I don't love paying 4.4 for Caleb Martin, and I don't love paying 3.9 for Cody. I like them when they were like 3K, 3.3, like 3.5. Not really when they're getting close to the 4K range. So Charlotte is interesting, but I'm going to wait and see on that news. If we get it, we'll come back for sure for you guys. We got Steve Anthony in chat. He said, I heard JSU was here, so I had to tune in. Appreciate you, Steve. Hope you smashed that like button. Everyone else, smash that like button as we get into this next game, which I know Title is just already, he's so excited about it. The table's moving under him. OKC versus Toronto. His Toronto Raptors, which Toronto might be my nemesis. They've let me down so many times over the last month. It's been hurtful, Title, but I understand why you are on the Toronto Raptors train. Their whole starting lineup is out. So whole starting lineup out: Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, OG, Pascal Siakam. I guess the only guy who's technically Gary Trent Jr.'s in, Chris Boucher's in, but pretty much their four main guys are out, Title. What the heck are we doing here? Are we waiting for the starters first, or do you already have an idea of who you want for sure in your lineup?
Well, we'll wait for the starters, but I'm just going to go with what I think is going to be the projected starters. I mean, there's so many good plays. I'll list the 4 plays that I think I like on both sites a lot, and there's 2 more on DraftKings that I like, but I won't touch on FanDuel. So Gary Trent, Malachi Flynn, Chris Boucher, and Kent Birch are all very good plays on both sites. It's their 4 main guys. The ball is going to be in their hands most of the time. Malachi Flynn's playing all the minutes he can handle. Gary Trent plays a ton of minutes. Boucher's an absolute beast when he gets the minutes, and he's going to be forced into them. Then Kent Birch has been playing really well for their team. So 4 of those guys are my 4 of the best plays on the slate with the Portland guys. And then on DraftKings, the 2 other guys that I'll mention is Paul Watson and Watanabe. So the 3,700, 3,600 if you need the punt. Paul Watson only played 25 minutes last game. He had 44 DraftKings points, 30 real-life points, 8 threes. I mean, hey, if he has confidence, as we know, for that price tag, he might be lower owned too, because the first 4 Raptors that I mentioned are going to be a lot higher owned. So if you pivot off of one of those guys and then go to a Watanabe or a Paul Watson, these guys have upside. They're very cheap and they're going to be a lot lower owned. So 6 Toronto Raptors I have interest in on DraftKings, 4 on FanDuel. I mean, it's hard not to when their whole lineup's out of the game. So love this spot for them. It's one of those spots that we talk about where I don't think you get cute. Maybe you don't take first place, but triple up, whatever it is, these Raptors are very hard for me to avoid.
So interesting. I was on the phone with our very own Travis Mangone that day, early in the day though, like before we got any of the real key news about what was going on. And I like Paul Watson. I said, Paul Watson, I think he's the sneaky guy there. I did not like Watu. I had no idea about minutes or anything. I didn't know what Fred VanVleet was going to get. My guess was he wasn't going to play the ridiculous number of minutes that they normally run him out for, just with all the other guys out. And it seems like they're being very cautious with their main studs. Like Kyle Lowry's been resting for, it seems like, the entire week. He's just been out due to rest, whatever that is. So I think they're just being very cautious with them. But the one thing I worry about with some of these guys, Watu, Paul Watson even, if you look at their numbers, yes, they played 26 and 27 minutes, but Paul Watson shot 10 for 13 from the field, 8 for 11 from 3. 8 for 11 from 3. And Watu shot 7 for 11 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, and 27 minutes for Watu, 26 minutes for Watson. The fact that they shot so well from the field, I don't want the numbers to be skewed. Like they had their best games from the field that they're probably going to have. Watu, I didn't even know was capable of going 7 for 11 from the field. That guy's shot looked broken earlier in the season. So I was shocked about that. Paul Watson, I wasn't as shocked about because it really seemed like the coach likes that kid and wants to see him play minutes. So I think if I had to choose one or the other, it's Watson for me. I think Watson is overall the better player. And so I just don't want that to be hidden though, right? Gary Trent Jr. is back for this game as well. He is going to play probably 30 plus minutes for this team. Fred VanVleet only played 23. So let's keep that in mind. He is a guard, but I do still think Paul Watson would be my favorite cheap Toronto guy if I had to choose one. Aaron Baines has been completely kicked out of the rotation. It seems like they've been giving Khem Birch 26 to 30 minutes, somewhere around there. Freddie Gillespie, I think his name is, 22 minutes last game against Orlando. And then Boucher is obviously going to play his 30-ish minutes. So I don't know. Like, I think I'm not going to probably pay up for Boucher at 7.3K. I think it's a little much. Do I think he could get there? Yeah, sure. He could. But I think if I'm going to go anywhere, I think it's Malachi Flynn at 5.9K is my favorite starter. Gary Trent Jr., I guess if Lou Dort is out, I would like him a little bit more just because Lou Dort is a really good defender who I would assume would be on Gary Trent Jr. If he's out, definitely hurts their defense. From the OKC side, title.
Let me mention.
Yeah, go for it.
I wanted to mention one guy in Toronto because I see Chant talking about him. DeAndre Bembry. He's 3,100. I know why people are talking about him because, I mean, he's had spot starts already this year. He's done well, but he only played 12 minutes last game. And it seemed like, I mean, Watanabe and Paul Watson were above him on the depth chart. I mean, they went to them over Bembry. I get the price. I want to hear what your take is on it, but coming off 12 minutes, and I see they're going to Watanabe, Watson. Maybe I'm missing something, but on this slate with so much value, and what I saw last game and other players playing over him, I don't love him in this spot, but I want to hear. I could be missing something.
So here's my take on this. And last game, just so people know, DeAndre Bembry came off the bench. Paul Watson did start.
Yeah, if Bembry starts, he's going to be a very good player.
Yes, I think
he's off the bench.
I think the starting thing is big for Bembry. But remember the coach we're dealing with, all right? Nick Nurse. He always does this too with the spot start guys where they'll get the start. Remember Terrence Davis, dude would get the start and play 16 minutes when multiple guys were out. And you just say, I don't even know how this makes sense. The dude gets the start, but then other guys behind him who don't even play that great end up playing more minutes than him. Remember, if he thinks that a guy is outplaying the guy who is starting and he's not taking Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Siakam, OG's minutes, who are all out now, he's going to play him over them. So now you've got 5 guys, in my opinion, who maybe outside of Malachi Flynn, just because they need his ball handling out there, you have 4 guys who are replaceable if they're being outplayed by the backup. That's how I see Nick Nurse coaching this game. I think if Watu comes out there and starts scoring and shooting the ball from the field the way he did last game, he might take Kem Birch's minutes or whoever shoot the 3 or 4 position. So I still like Watson, but I'm just saying to you, that is the risk with some of these Toronto guys. We've seen it in the past. Don't be fooled by it. It happens all the time. I think there are some risk to those guys, even if they start. But again, if Paul Watson shoots 10 for 13 from the field, I think he gets his minutes. But he only saw 26 minutes. That's the thing that blows my mind. He was that good from the field, started the game, and only saw 26 minutes. So that tells me the coaches also, they want to get other guys minutes. They don't want to just, these aren't his main guys. So he doesn't need them to play 40 minutes, right? So I just want people to be cautious.
Yeah, outside the Gary Trent, Boucher, Malachi Flynn, Kem Birch, none of these guys are safe, I don't think. A couple people in chat said it sounded like Bembry was doubtful before last game, and they might have just needed him to play the 12 minutes. So yeah, maybe 3,100. He still ranks below them on this slate. I'm not going to do it. And Bembry also was a lot better play earlier in the year when Malachi Flynn wasn't playing 40 minutes handling the ball. Bembry was getting spot starts at the point guard role, where now it's all Malachi Flynn and, well, now Siakam's out. But I will
say too, again, if he's in the starting lineup, that's probably a better indication that he's a little more healthy to play more minutes, right? So definitely pay attention. Also remember, they didn't have Paul Watson for the last few games, before this past one, right? He was a guard. He plays the guard position, not the point guard position, but guard, and he's been out. So that's just another body in the rotation. So just keep that in mind. Let's talk about the OKC side, because to me, looking at it, I don't know if Lou Dort is questionable, game time decision. I don't know if I can pay almost 7K for Lou Dort title. If he's in, do you have any interest in him or anyone else?
No, I'm not playing OKC on this slate. There's no need. regardless
I
if
will
he's in
say,
or out. I don't even know if I'd play anyone if he's out. I doubt it. Nothing's standing out.
yeah, I mean, so right now we've got him and Poku. I think Poku was probable, but he might be a game time decision. I'm not sure. I'm trying to see if that's listed anywhere, but it looks like he could possibly play.
I see probable.
There you go. So he's probably going to play, and I just don't love this OKC team the way it's constructed. They got a ton of bigs they're running out there: Tony Bradley, Roby, Darius Baisley, Moses Brown. They just got so many guys. Now they're adding Poku, who, yeah, they play him at the 3 a lot, but still, it's just like another guy to add into the mix. I think it's just a stay away spot. If Lou Dort's out, that might bump Kenrich Williams a little bit, but still, I think it's a spot where we're just going to stay away, wait and see. There's so many better spots on this slate. So let's move on to, I would say, one of the better spots, Houston versus the Orlando Magic. Houston, the Rockets pretty much one of the worst teams in basketball, but, no John Wall for this game. So they got a lot of spots open. Guys are going to have to fill them. They don't have a lot of guards. DJ Augustine's been out. Dante Exum's been out. Eric Gordon's been out. Daniel House, who plays that 2-3, you could really plays that 3-4 position. So it's a little versatile. Same thing with Sterling Brown, can play the 2, can play the 3. Those guys are both out. Nawaba's been out. It just feels like pretty much half their team has been out for so long, Title. But they have a few bigs. So the bigs, they do have a couple bodies. What do you think of this Rockets team? Because in my eyes in tournaments, I think the Rockets are good pivots off of the Toronto guys if the Toronto is going to be more popular.
Yeah, I think Toronto's overall going to be more popular. I think some of these Rockets, like Christian Wood on both sides, is a very strong play. We have so much value we've already talked about where you just need to find spend ups. And Christian Wood is one of the better spend ups on the slate, I think, on both sides. I do like some other pieces, though. Kevin Porter, I like on both sides. He's just so ball dominant. Him and Christian Wood are going to have the ball in their hand almost all the time. Love the price tag on both sides. Lots of upside. And then Kelly Olynyk, too. He's 6'3" on FanDuel, 6'8" on DraftKings. I don't think too many people play him at 6'8" on DraftKings, too. Because, I mean, you look at it, Kelly Olynyk, 6.8K. You probably didn't expect to see that at the beginning of the year. But he deserves that price tag. He's been very, very good. So much upside, shoots the ball really well, getting the minutes. Wood, Olynyk, and Kevin Porter are 3 very strong plays. I'd probably only play 2 max in lineups just because they're all ball dominant. They all love to shoot a lot. The prices are all 6K or above, so you need good games out of them. But all of them grade out very well for me. I'll rank them Christian Wood, Porter, Olynyk, but Olynyk's probably the lowest owned in tournaments. And then going to the Magic side, the Magic side has pieces that we have interest too. Cole Anthony on both sides, 5'8", 5K on FanDuel only. That's very cheap, 800 cheaper than DraftKings. I like him as a point guard too, if you need some savings. Terrence Ross is only 5.1K on FanDuel. He hasn't been very good, but that's too cheap for someone.
No James Ennis too. No James Ennis. That might give him a little boost. For whatever reason, I will say again, we talked, the Orlando Magic was on the last time we were on Sunday, and they just love to give James Ennis 30 minutes. Yep. God, I don't know why, but thank God he's out. Maybe Terrence Ross will see 30 minutes, and maybe this game will stay close for once. He's been another guy he's been disappointing. But Title, you didn't bring up, in my opinion, one of the better plays on the entire slate.
Avery Bradley?
No. Armani Brooks at 3.2K.
I'll let you talk about. I see him down there. There's so much value that I'm not going to go.
You don't like him?
I think it's a very good tournament pivot, but like I'm not going to play him over these cheap Raptors or these cheap or like Anthony Simons. I'm finding the 500 to get to Anthony Simons, but I'm more of a chalky cash guy. I think it's a very interesting GPP pivot though. So I want to hear you talk about him.
Yeah, I'll talk about him in a sec. We got our guys AP and Mangone in the chat. Mangone's talking about imagine not understanding the roll Dort's in, LOL. Mangone, if you want to come on here and talk about, start shaking your desk underneath and talking about Lou Dort and his point guard role that he's playing right now. Please go ahead. Captain will send you a link right now. We'll allow you 5 minutes if that's not enough
I'll
talk
sit
about
back
Lou
and
Dort.
I'll sit back and listen to him stroke him.
Come on, man, going 7K for Lou Dort. Stop it. You wouldn't pay that. You're not going to play Lou Dort at 7K, man, going. Stop. No, I won't allow it. I'll drive to Jersey if I have to. But back to the game at hand. So Armani Brooks, last game, which they got smacked by Denver, right? So before that, he played 14 minutes against Phoenix, 14 minutes against Indiana. And then against Denver, where they got crushed, John Wall lost, I would probably say, like 8 minutes probably of what he should have played because he only played 28 minutes. And Armani Brooks saw 21 minutes. To me, his minutes were clearly off of John Wall. So, like, when John Wall was off the court, Brooks was on the court, is my point. Now you're taking John Wall completely out of the game. Armani Brooks should be the one that benefits the most from that. I don't know if he's going to start. I don't know if a starting lineup has come out yet. I don't think it has. If it does, Title maybe knows. But
I don't think
either way, I think he has a chance to start. But if he doesn't start, I still think he's a really good play on this slate. They just don't have enough ball handlers. Yeah, can JSUN Tate handle the ball a little? Yeah, he could. Could Avery Bradley come in there and play some guard minutes? For sure, but I still think that Brooks is going to end up seeing – you can't give Avery Bradley – he's not going to play 40 minutes. Like, you can't give him John Wall's extra 20, 28 minutes. Brooks is getting 5 to 10 of those extra minutes, I think, with John Wall out. So, to me, I don't know. What do you think of that? Because to me, I feel like he's playing 25-plus minutes tonight.
So my concern is I think Kevin Porter could play 40 minutes easily. And if he's on the court, he's going to be the ball handler, which will mean Brooks is playing off ball. And we know the Rockets, I mean, Christian Wood, Kevin Porter, JSUN Tate, those Kelly Olynyk, those guys are chuckers. Like there can be one pass and Kelly Olynyk's just going to jack it from wherever. I'm just scared about how much Brooks is going to have the ball in his hands. If Kevin Porter only played 30 minutes, and you told me that, then I would have interest in Brooks because
I know he's 3.2K Title.
Well, that's where I'm
going to cheap.
But this is like the slate we talk about. I mean, this will talk about in baseball sometimes with DC where you can dumpster dive pitchers, but what like the salary today doesn't really matter. Anthony signed like with Toronto and Portland, there's so much value. So I think Avery Bradley too. He's 3.5 on DraftKings. I'm concerned about him eating into a lot of Brooks's time too. And Avery Bradley handling the ball a little bit, but I think Kevin Porter is going to just play as many minutes as he can handle, and he always has the ball in his hands. So
see, I could never play Avery Bradley, like never. I mean, it's just no. I can't do it. Title, I could never do it. I won't.
I don't think I'm playing either of these guys because we have other value that I like more. I think Olynyk, Wood, and Kevin Porter are just going to chuck so much. Where these secondary pieces is going to be tougher for them.
So you think Avery Bradley cracks the starting lineup? That's your guess.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I mean I think he very well might.
I wouldn't be surprised if Avery Bradley started and Brooks ended up playing more minutes than him. I wouldn't be surprised.
And you might even want Brooks off the bench, to be honest. So he does come in, maybe takes Porter out and gets his point guard right away. Because otherwise he's not like.
Well, Porter's going to play 40 minutes in a close game. He was playing 40 minutes with Wall in close games. So there's no way Porter's not playing 40 minutes.
That's concerning for me. But he is 3-2. He's 3-2 and he's going to be low owned. Like, and he's going to be lower owned. So I'm not going to try and talk you off in tournaments. I'm just making cash games like that. There's no possible way I could do that over the Simmons role or Simons role that we know and stuff like that.
My worry is JSUN Tate playing more with the ball in his hands a little bit with John Wall out. Because Kevin Porter's going to play with the ball in his hands. You're not going to stop that. But JSUN might be the second guy who plays with the ball in his hands after him. That is my one worry. But
Chris Myers and chat goes, imagine Title disagreeing with the GOAT JSU. Hate to see it. This wouldn't be a show if I just had the same brain as JSU. And I mean,
I'll say this, Chris. You would not like the show if me and Title just said, "Hey, Title, you like Terry Rozier? Yeah, I like Terry Rozier. Hey, Title, you like Robert Covington? Yeah, I liked Robert Covington. So you don't want that. That'd be boring. Like, you want Title to disagree with me. He can disagree with me. It's fine. That's the whole point of the show. We're not going to fight like him in DC where we start betting and waging and stuff like that. Because Title wouldn't like that because I'm not gonna give him those easy bets that friggin' DC and all these guys. See, Big T, they get in trouble because they take such hard stands and then they end up saying, screw it. I know this is, I know I'm getting the short end of the stick with this bet, but I don't even care because I'm already dug in on this guy. And Title takes advantage of them. He's not taking advantage of JSU right now. I won't let that happen. There's no way. Title even knows it too. He knows I'm not going to give him that edge in a bet.
Yeah, on the baseball show Friday too, these donkeys are like, oh, you got to give some action to take some. No, first of all, I don't have to because I can get action with you guys.
I'm dying thinking, man, they don't know Title at all. There's no way he would ever do that.
No, like if I win money, I'm not just giving it back. Like, you got to earn that money. If I don't like yes, I'm going to make a plus EV bet. That's the point of a bet. If you like Gibson, okay, well, I might go somewhere else. So, yeah, I mean, JSU, I know I'm not getting that from JSU.
Did you bet draft cheat with Kyle Gibson today? Did you bet? No. Did you bet anything?
No, I didn't, because I actually thought he was one of the best point per dollar pitchers on the slate today.
Well, I saw him in Discord at you saying, Title, I'll give you any pitcher you want on the slate versus Kyle Gibson. I didn't know if you took anything.
I saw later because it was like 8 a.m. and you're like, imagine thinking Title's awake, which I obviously wasn't.
Oh, yeah, you were. I would have just laughed, though, if you took Aaron Nola, who might have been the one guy to edge out Kyle Gibson point per dollar, because he had like the Lance Lynn performance of a lifetime. It would have been good if you went back-to-back with Aaron Nola and you caught like the 40-something. He had like 40-something DK points, I think, Aaron Nola. So
I would have.
Who was in Draft Cheat's core, by the way? Shout out to Draft Cheat. He was in Draft Cheat's core. JT Hayes talked about him earlier on the show. I think he might have been in JT Hayes' core too eventually. So shout out to those guys. Good call on Aaron Nola. I did play him, but definitely played him because of Draft Cheat and JT talking about them on the show in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, be a good time to sign up. Me and Title after the show, we're going to jump in the Discord a little bit, chat with the members, talk plays, get QQs, answer all that stuff. So if you're not a member at Run Pure Sports, get over there, sign up, and get in the Discord because that's where we're going to be right after this show. Title, we talked about the Houston side. I think the Houston side is straightforward, right? Play Kevin Porter, play Kelly Olynyk, Christian Wood. These are all good plays. Maybe you can play Armani Brooks if you're Title. He doesn't like him as much. He thinks he's more of a tournament play. I think he's in play for tournaments for sure. But then the Orlando side, Mo Bamba's on track to play. And if Mo Bamba's in, it does affect Wendell Carter Jr.'s minutes, correct? Because they're not going to play those two guys on the floor together. So it hurts him, right? Against Milwaukee, Indiana, Washington, 23, 26, 27 minutes. I'm pretty sure Bamba was in for those games. Talk about that situation real quick.
Yeah, it's just too hard, I think, to play one of these guys on this slate because there is only center eligible. We love Ken Birch, Boucher, Christian Wood. There's just a lot of centers on this slate. So I don't think I'm going to go there just because Mo Bamba's in. They eat at the minutes, like you said, eat at the ceiling. If Bamba was out, I would have loved Wendell Carter. Going to the other Magic, like I said, I mentioned him quickly. Cole Anthony on both sides, I think, is in play. Terrence Ross only on FanDuel at 5-1. 5-9's a little more steep for his unknown minutes. And then other than that, I don't really have too much. Gary Harris, I guess, on FanDuel if you want it at 4K. If you want to punt shooting guard too to get up to somewhere else, he's starting. He's 4K. Yeah, I'm fine with him there, but not too much Magic.
No. You didn't say Gary Harris on this show. Title, come on. Last Sunday we were on this, okay? We talked about it. I told you guys no on Gary Harris last time. I hope you listened because I'm pretty sure the game was against Milwaukee Title, and he had 16 fantasy points. There you go. You want 16 fantasy points? Play Gary Harris. No,
I'm just saying.
No.
4A, it's all about what it gets you. 4K on FanDuel, 26, 30, 26 minutes in the last 3 games. He's met value over 2 of the 3 games. I don't love it. It's not like a plug and play, but he's 4K. If you need a starter to make everything work, you can do worse on this slate than Gary Harris.
Why the heck aren't they giving RJ Hampton actual minutes? I don't understand this Orlando team. Like, what are we doing here? RJ Hampton's not getting minutes. Why are you playing Dwayne Bacon? You already know what you have in Dwayne Bacon. Stop playing him and James Ennis. Like, get RJ Hampton 25 to 30 minutes a night. Stop playing Chesson Randall. Like, it drives me nuts. Like, I don't understand it whatsoever. I also think that with James Ennis out, maybe Chuma Okeke gets a little bit of a bump. They've been hesitant to roll him out there big minutes. Played 29 and 26 minutes last game. Took 10 shots. That's pretty good. But we do want to see him hit that like 30-plus minute marker, right? Maybe with James Ennis out, because he is kind of a 3-4 guy, maybe it bumps up Chuma's minutes a little bit, Title?
Yeah, I think it might a little bit, but he's 5,200. I think it's a solid tournament play. He's an athletic guy. He was good at Auburn. He's shown very high ceiling in the NBA. I think Mo Bamba hurts him a little bit being in too, just because of the rebounding. His rebounding percentage goes down. We got some news. PJ Washington is in. Devontae Graham is out. Doesn't change too much, except like Terry Rozier. He's a good, very good play in tournaments on DraftKings, and he's cash and tournament viable on FanDuel with a cheaper price tag.
I agree with you on that. Mo Bamba probably hurts him a little bit from a production standpoint, right? Just because he really does, just when he's out there, he produces. Mo Bamba. Like, he is just a monster out there. So I get that. That makes a lot of sense. We got Brandon in chat. He said, hey, JSU and Titletown, a member just won 100K in the early baseball, and second, another member tied for second. So, okay, so a member just took home another 100K. I mean, Title, I feel like every week we're getting 1 or 2 of these guys just shipping 100K, and it's kind of just becoming like another thing. You know, that's why we started that whole segment with the members and the screenshots and showing people, because, I mean, I don't know if now people like just gloss over it. Now they just don't want to acknowledge it. But a while ago, there was a lot of people talking about how members don't win. And it wasn't true then, and it's still not true. Now those guys just have gone dark completely, and we keep the segment going with more members winning. I mean, that's just it. I know that DC's core was on point. I know that the pitchers, a lot of the pitchers that RPS was on, I mean, clearly DC was tweeting about Kyle Gibson like early this morning. He was in Discord early as well on a Sunday morning talking about Kyle Gibson. So obviously, like, people were on Kyle Gibson. And then Aaron Nola was the other pitcher in his core. I know JT was on Nola. I mean, I'm not surprised, Title.
Yeah, it's literally, I mean, this is life-changing money. Every day members are winning. And we're like, everyone just cheers for all the people in this. Like, I can imagine MLB Discord, a bunch of people are sweating it out with them, cheering them on. Like, it's just an awesome community. Unreal money. People are winning. People are learning and becoming, I mean, just, it's not only just take the plays, you play them all. People are learning how to become better, make pivots on their own, adjusting with news and all that. You learn, I saw a nice quote in the chat earlier, but they teach you how to fish. They don't just, whatever that saying is, teach them how to do something. They're just not going to spell it out for you. Give the whole lineups. We don't give whole lineups. We give cores, but we talk about our process that we're doing on here. Talk about pivots, tournaments, cash, all that. Just very, very impressive. Yeah, DC's core absolutely smashed. JT was talking about Noel on the show. A lot of bats were right today. So what a crazy day. And then, hey, we'll run it back in NBA tonight. That's a good thing about DFS and the time right now. So many sports going on. We still have a whole NBA slate to try and get another 100K winner. So congrats to all the people that shipped today.
So I got the screenshot. Bobby Gomes sent me the screenshot in a text message. So RPS took home first, two different guys tied for second that were both from RPS, and then fifth place. Wow. And that must have been in one of the bigger tournaments on DraftKings because it was $100K to first and then $30K. So I'm assuming it was the big like $18 tournament. Maybe it was the 555, but one of those two tournaments I would assume it was. So, I mean, that's friggin' awesome. Like, I don't know what more you want. That's great. I know I had a good day in MLB. Came close to some nice stuff, but I'm really happy to see members do it. That's it's great. It's great to see the guys in Discord just like having success, because even the members, they're grinding in Discord, right, Title? So like it's not just us grinding in Discord. Members are too, and members are helping each other, and that's the best part, in my opinion, about the Discord. It's not just us grinding, it's everyone. It's everybody in there talking plays and learning process. So that's awesome. Let's move on though, because we got two more games.
Hold on. I need to see. This person goes, "What the hell type of quote was that?" Which, good point. I had no clue. And then Nick Ebert, my guy, goes, "Here you go, Title. If you give a man a fish, you need him. You feed him for a day. If you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime." Great. Thank you. That's the quote I was trying to find.
I want you guys to understand. Title is 21 years old. Do you expect him to know
I'm 23.
Oh, excuse me, Title. Title's 23 years old. Do you expect him to know a wise quote like that, like right
Zero
off
chance.
the bat? Like zero chance. There's no way. The guy was probably out drinking last night at a party, hanging out with everyone. Like, no way he's remembering that stuff right now. He's not like me, who sits at home every day and just, plays DFS and doesn't hang out with anyone pretty much. Like, I'm like the old young guy, and Title is like still the young guy who's going out every weekend. I can't do that stuff anymore. You guys saw me drinking that one show. That's like that's the one time I'll drink for 6 months. Like, literally, like the next time I'll drink will be like in a few months. That's how JSU does it. Now let's go on to Sacramento versus Dallas. Sacramento here, they're still without Rashawn Holmes. Marvin Bagley's been out, but outside of that, I think that's everyone for them. And then from the Dallas side, unless we've got news popped up, which I don't see any news as of now, Title, it looks like the Dallas team is pretty much healthy. So what are we doing here? Is Luka a priority spend, or is this game kind of like a pass to you?
I don't think Luka's a priority, but he's a strong play if you're going through with a lot of value. If you're going the stars and scrubs route, we have the value. He's definitely a good play, but I don't think he's a must. I think in tournaments you can go the Terry Rozier, CJ McCollum, Christian Wood, all those mid-tier guys, and make a very solid lineup that's probably going to be lower owned. So I like Luka. If you have the money to spend up, you just take your raw points, move on. It's a very good matchup against Sacramento. But I don't think he's a must. Outside of that, this game, I don't have too much interest in because I like all the other spots better and we can't play everyone. The one tournament guy, Hassan Whiteside, 5.5K on DraftKings. He's only center eligible. I think he's going to be overlooked. He's going to probably only play a little over 20 minutes, but we've seen him absolutely smash in that time. This is a good matchup for him. I like Hassan Whiteside in tournaments because of that position eligibility. Make his lower ownership.
Yeah, for sure. Redmond JSU's talking like he's 50 when he's really 28. I'm not 28. I'm almost 30, Redmond. Not yet. I'm not 30 yet, but I'm almost 30. So watch it here. And no, like I get made fun of. Like my friends actually make fun of me saying like I'm the 30-year-old who acts like a 50-year-old and never goes out. Like just like I don't know. Like I like to be in my house and watch the games. And if friends want to come over, they're welcome to come over. But I'm not someone who's like actively like going out. So I get made fun of all the time. Trust me, I got my few close friends and they text me pretty much every day and they're always making fun of me. They get me to go out like once a year. It's like a big day too when they get me to go out. In the 100K winner title, he's a 21-year-old kid. Captain found that out somehow. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So from this game, I think I agree with you on Luka. I think it's it's a good spot for Luka, right? Against Sacramento, I think it's a really good spot for Luka. Do I think he's necessarily a priority? I wouldn't say priority, but I do think it is a good spot for him, and definitely because he has the small forward eligibility as well. So he's got that point guard and small forward, so you can play him at two different spots. That makes him easier to fit in.
And the value on this slate,
right. So you can get up to Luka. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but I may have one lineup with Luka out of my 2 or 3 lineups that I play, and then Whiteside is definitely in play. Like, Whiteside's getting 23 to 24 minutes against this Dallas team. He could put up 35 to 40 in 23 to 24 minutes. He's got upside for more than that. Like, I remember that game, I think it was against Brooklyn, where he put up 50 in like 27 minutes or 26 minutes. So, like, this dude has monster upside. So I like him here. Outside of him, though, I mean, Harrison Barnes is going to continue to play 40 minutes. If you're looking for the minutes, I think on DK, his price tag's gotten a little too high at 6,600. But I think you can look there. Buddy Hield's price tag's gone up. Yeah, I think everything else to me is just a stay away for me. Luka and Hassan Whiteside are the 2 guys I'm really interested from this game. Do think you can play other guys, but I think those are the 2 guys I'm first interested in. So that's about it. Title, anything else from this game?
I mean, that's why we spent so much time on the other games. I think the other games are clearly a lot better than these last 2.
I agree. Definitely my lineups are going to focus more on the other games, but I might have 1 or 2 guys from this game in there. And then the late game. So we got to talk about this because from a strategy standpoint, we've got the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Clippers. And Kawhi Leonard is questionable. So we don't have the news if he's in or out. Title, I wouldn't be shocked if Kawhi Leonard decides he's going to play tonight. They randomly decide to rest Paul George. Like, I would not be shocked if that happened. Like, okay, Paul George has played a few games in a row. Okay, now let's give him a rest. And then, because you remember he popped up on the injury report one of those games, but then he ended up playing. Like, I think, like, they almost wanted him to sit one of those days and then just said, no, you got to play. Like,
you think he's going to get a little dizzy before the game?
Yeah, I do. I think it's possible. He gets dizzy before the game. Obviously, he's in right now, though, Title. So we have to act like he's in. But I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be shocked if Kawhi decided to play if somehow randomly Paul George pops up as questionable and then ends up being out. But we don't know that yet. For now, Kawhi Leonard is questionable. Paul George is right now, he's in. But this is a 10 o'clock game, and it's the only 10 o'clock game on the slate, Title. There's a lot of merit to fading this game and just saying, you know what? I got all 4 of these 7 or 7:30 games. I'm going to get news about who's in and who's out and everything like that. I might just stay away from this game. This might just be a game where I decide not to play anyone and just fade and, hope it kind of blows out.
Yeah, I'm making it a 4-game slate myself, too. If I play anyone, it's Paul George, but that's just because Kawhi's questionable. If he's out, Paul George gets a big boost. If you think Paul George might miss, which we have no clue what the Clippers are going to do. I mean, we just don't. We already know Doc Rivers has done a lot of crazy things. Who knows what they're – not Doc. Ty Lue has done crazy things. Sorry, Doc Rivers on the Sixers, but – they just
close. It was a year ago.
Yeah, well, I knew that, but Ty Lue, I mean, you don't know what they're gonna do. If Paul George is ruled out, whatever. Why take a risk when this game isn't only the last game? It's the last game by like 2 hours or 2.5 hours. So make it a 4-game slate myself. The other spots are very good on the slate. Not gonna waste time on it.
Yeah, the other thing too is like, okay, is Reggie Jackson is this a decent spot for him against Minnesota? Yeah, but he's 5.7. And if Kawhi plays, he's not as good of a play. So, is Marcus Morris, but he's 5.5 now. And it's the same thing. Like, if Kawhi's in, he's not as good of a play. So we need this news, and we're just not going to get it in time. I will say, though, from a tournament standpoint, if you're playing like 150 lineups, a lot of people might have this idea, maybe playing a cat. Maybe you're not playing the Clipper side, but maybe you just play a cat and hope cat can can go out there and smash, and maybe he's lower owned with all the value, right, Title? Because I think when spending up, I don't think Cat's going to be as popular as a spend up being in this late game.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think if anyone plays anyone in this game, it's going to be Paul George, and that's because he has that hidden upside if Kawhi does miss. And you think, I mean, he's not on the injury report, so you think that the worst thing happens is he's just 9.3K with Kawhi Leonard next to you, but I don't want that on this slate if Kawhi does play. So if you want to play Cat, he'll probably be 2% owned. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense from a game theory perspective. I know I'm not going to have him on my lineup, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, though.
Yeah, we got some people talking about Luke Kennard. I'm not high on Luke Kennard.
It's all if all if they miss. If they're in, like, then who are you going to pivot to? You can't. Then you're pretty. Right. That's the risk. I mean, he's a fine play if Kennard's out, or if Kawhi's out. You think maybe you don't even think so, but.
Because, like, if PG was out and Kawhi was out, I think Kennard's in play. But if PG's in right now and Kawhi's questionable and they end up both playing, Kennard is, like, not even close to in play. Like, he's not really in play with one of them playing. That's a thing. Like, look at the game against Philly. He got 18 minutes. The game before that, neither of those two guys, PG or Kawhi, played, and he got 39 minutes. So, I don't know. That's just the way I feel about Luke Kennard and those secondary pieces. Terrence Mann's the same way. I think Terrence Mann is a really good basketball game, but he's only getting 18 minutes when those guys are in. So I think those guys are just phased. I think the Clippers are just a stay away spot. That's how I'm approaching this slate. We don't know what's going to happen. So that's how I'm going.
Yep, right there with you. Make it a five game slate. You make it a 4-game slate. You can enjoy your night for more than usual on the weekday slates.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to sweat from 7 p.m. Eastern time until about, like 10 p.m. 10 p.m. when all the games finish up. Pretty much that I'm going to be sweating, and then I'll just enjoy the Minnesota versus the Clippers game. My sweat will be done. Wherever I finish is where I'll be, and I'll just be able to just hang out and enjoy it. So that's what I'm going to do. But I think that's about it. I think we talked about every game on the slate, went pretty in depth on a few of them. But
plays of the day?
Yeah, we're going to get the plays of the day for you guys. Before we get the plays of the day, make sure you smash that like button before you get out of here. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Title is going to give his SO play of the day.
Yeah, so I'll just get right into it. I think the center position is absolutely loaded, so many options, and I think this is one of the guys that goes lower owned and has a ton of upside as much as anyone, and that's Hassan Whiteside at 5,500. I like this matchup against Dallas. I think he's going to be low owned, hoping 25 minutes, and he has a 45 plus upside at this price. So give me Hassan Whiteside in this matchup, 5,500.
All right, Hassan Whiteside, I like it. Is he going to be? Is he going to be lower owned? Title? Is he going to be a guy that's lower owned? Yeah, probably, right?
Because there's Boucher, there's Olynyk, there's Christian Wood, there's Ken Burge. The center is so loaded. I think he's the one that gets overlooked at that price.
I like it. I like that call. That's sneaky. I don't know what my play of the day name is called, but I don't know. We can figure that out. It used to be like the Supercuts play, but that got pulled out. And I've been starting to get my hair cut a little bit more, so it doesn't grow out as crazy as it used to be. But we'll figure out a new play one day. But I think that the guy I'm going to go to, and I assume the ownership is going to go down on him with Devontae Graham in, correct? Is Terry Rozier. Yeah. I think everyone's going to jump off Terry Rozier. I'm going to stay on. This is a really good matchup for Terry Rozier against Portland. I think Terry Rozier is going to need to be the key guy scoring the basketball. I see another 50 burger coming. He's had 2 straight. I think we're going for 3 in a row. Terry Rozier. Hopefully we can get him at, under 10% Title. I'm hoping.
Well, Graham's out. PJ's in, but I still on DraftKings. But I still don't think that Terry Rozier is going to, at 8.3K, I think people are going to go all the way for Luka.
I thought it was the opposite. I got it confused. But that's bad.
it's still not going to be like the chalk. It's not. I think you're going to get them 15% or under in tournaments, which that qualifies. Unless you want to come up.
Title, that's unacceptable. I misconstrued the news, so I'm going to give a second play because I'm going to play Terry Rozier, but I'm going to give a second play anyways. Yusuf Nurkic didn't get it done for me last time out. I'm going back to Yusuf Nurkic tonight again for Portland. I need one Portland guy that is going to differentiate me from the pack. Last time out, Enes Kanter outplayed him and thus got a few more minutes than him. I think if Nurkic can outplay him, which I think he can against Charlotte, I think Nurkic is the guy who gets the extra few minutes, and Nurkic is the guy who smashes at 5.6K. So give me Yusuf Nurkic at under 10%. That's going to be how I differentiate my Portland stack. Boom, we did it. We're done. Guys, we appreciate you hanging out. Yeah, everyone's in the chat. Graham's out. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yep. I knew it too, Title, but like in my head, I just got it mixed up. Yeah, it happens,
It happens.
What are you going to do? But perfection. All right. I strive to be perfect and I fucked up. So I'll take the L for that one. Chat, I fucked up. We got it though. We're going to play Terry Rozier and Nurkic, and we're going to ride our way to the winner's circle. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me, JSU, Titletown over here. Good luck in your contest. We'll see you next time.
Good luck, everybody.